Greetings, B3 Burner, and what I have for you today is our second look at Microsoft Flight Simulator. A few weeks ago, in mid-October, I did my first excursion from Oakdale to Modesto, California, and as you may recall, the flight wasn't the greatest, but it was an opportunity to explore the game itself, see the features, see the visual graphics and content, and get an overall judge of it. Well, it attracted a little bit of attention, despite its its modest production level. And I had two people approach me. Kaz Miller wrote, "Bro, I'm from Modesto. Please fly around there." And then D-1209 said, "Hey, like the video, I've been wanting to play this so bad. Was wondering if you can do a video and fly over Salida and the mall area. I'm so interested in seeing where I live to see if it looks the same. Anyway, if you can do that, that would be awesome." Well, guess what? That's what we're going to do today. And so I can tell you a few things. For those people who don't know where Modesto is, it's about 80 or so miles, or 70 miles maybe, due east of San Jose, which is part of the South Bay of the San Francisco Bay Area. And Salida is a little town northwest of Modesto along California State Highway 99. And so these gentlemen want to see the area, and so we're going to do that. So let me get that set up and I'll be back with you. And it's time to let the fun and excitement begin. So we go to the world map, and right now as I'm doing this, it's 8:52 at night. So you can see that the entire United States is in darkness and shadow. So we're probably going to have to revert this to the daytime, because it really isn't fair for you to you want to see what it looks like, having you see it via their created nighttime view. The lights aren't necessarily that accurate. I mean, some are, but some aren't. So the first thing we do is we won't do this cold and dark because I'm not too good at that yet. So we'll, rather than starting off in Oakdale like we did last time, because you know what that looks like, and we want to focus on Modesto anyway, we'll start off at Modesto City Airport. Runway 28R set as departure. Now, since you last saw me do this, something weird's happened. I don't know if it's because of an update or not, but taking off from the runway has suddenly become quite the challenge. When you pull back too far on the stick to up your elevators, the plane tends to ignore it and want to go down. Not because it's pitching down, but because it's stalling. I mean, you should be able to nose up and into a stall, not just sort of hang loose into a stall. So that concerns me a little bit. Select arrival airport. I'll tell you what. We'll just make the arrival airport the same. I don't know. Let's make it Oakdale. What the heck? We won't fly to Oakdale, we just have to tell it something. We got to fill in the blanks, right? So this is the interface you get, and then we have the option of, okay, that's midnight, let's back up. Let's make it 11 o'clock in the morning. Really doesn't matter. Flight conditions, live weather, clear skies. Do I have live weather turned off? I guess it's turned off. Preset, custom, preset, AI, off, Trying to figure out, I guess when it's white, that's what it's set for. Live, I can't go live. Well, what the heck happened that I can't do all that? Hold on, let's go back home. We'll go options, general, data. This is a really weird interface, and if you've worked with flight simulators before, other video games, everything has a graphics and data and display console where you choose your sliders and what's on or off so that you don't overpower your computer. And that's fine. That's actually nothing all that unusual. But unfortunately, your data, whether you use rolling cache or Bing Data World Graphics, you know what? That is real important. We need online functionality, or else you're not going to see the accurate stuff. It's not going to look like Modesto. So that's the first thing we need to do. If you ever get this game, make sure you go General, Options, General, Data, and you go into the data. We got data connection, online functionality. I don't know how this got turned off. Bing Data World Graphics on. Photogrammetry. That's a very fancy word for they put in the buildings in the places where they did install them, the way they look in real life. Live real world air traffic, we're not going to worry about that. Live weather, let's turn that off for now. And I've got multiplayer off. I'm sure multiplayer is a lot of fun, but I have not figured out whether my computer is good at handling it yet. And I don't want to find out the hard way right now. Data tracking reset, that's only if you pay for your data and you want to pick a date that your data your data count restarts. Like you're on a plan that lasts a month before you get your new data usage. Data bandwidth limit, nothing. Unlimited, off. You see, this is off because I have unlimited data on my cable hookup. The computer on the desktop in the office, right? Rolling cache is off. Manual cache view. Now this is interesting. I wish I knew. Applying graphic settings. And you can see the regions I cached. Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto, Oakdale. Then, and that took up 3.05 megabytes. It's kind of like a megabyte, but it's slightly different. 2.34 megabytes. Let's just call it a megabyte. New region 2, new region 3. It focuses on, looks like part of France or Portugal, Spain. Let's come over here to the US where I am. And you can see that these are the areas I highlighted east of the Bay Area, where Stockton and Manteca and the areas we're going to be working with, Modesto, Oakdale. I don't know if Salida made the list or not. I didn't think to, because I didn't know I was going to be highlighting that area. So I did this. Now the weird thing is, when you go back, how do I get out of here now? Go back. Oh dear. Data. Okay. Sometimes manual cache is grayed out and I can't even get in here. So I don't know why it does that. Rolling cache limit. Rolling cache is on. Okay. So I want my photogrammetry on. I want my rolling cache on. I cached my limit to 5 gigabytes or giga, whatever. You know, when I think of gigabytes, I think of GB. I don't know what the I means. Somebody who understands computer speak better than me can probably say what the difference is with that GIB instead of GB. My rolling cache path is a specific address on my hard drive that it goes to. And I'm working with a hard drive that's got limited space. I want to take out my SSD hard drive and replace it with an SSD 1 terabyte, and then I'll have a little bit more room. All right, so enough of that. Did I change stuff? I sure did. Rolling cache. Yeah, so I better apply and save. Updating the rolling cache. Da-da-da. Is it working? Manual cache, rolling cache on. Okay, we're set. Go back. And welcome. World map. We still have our thing in place. It's still 11 o'clock and let's go flying. Wait, one more thing. Clear skies, okay. These are all the little things you gotta look at. Make sure you got it right. And away we go. The stall speed of a Cessna 172S. I couldn't finish that. Newer models of the Cessna 172S are equipped with the Garmin G1000 glass cockpit. The Cessna 172 is the most produced airplane in the world.
Modesto Tower, Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra ready for north departure at runway 28 right.
Okay. So I mean there.
Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra cleared for takeoff runway 28 right departure to the north approved.
Okay. So what I was hoping was that I can talk over the radio guy. I was really hoping that everybody would be quiet. Okay, now you're going to see what I'm... Wait, I got to take off the parking brake. You're going to see what I'm talking about here. Yeah, allow myself to get up enough speed. And you can see that I'm struggling getting off the ground, despite the fact my flaps are deployed. And I don't know what the problem is, because I've worked with these planes before. It's almost like it's counterintuitive. You have to kind of, the more you pull back on the stick, oh boy. I don't know why it doesn't want to go up. I have to hardly pull back on the stick at all to get it to even. This is not going to end well. And as you can see, all right. So I'm going to have to stop this and start it again because I'm having a liftoff problem. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, but it seems like after one of the major updates, this isn't going so well. Give me a second to figure out what this is all about, and I'll be back with you. Well, welcome back. It took me 2 days to get back to you because it took me a while to figure this out. But I now know why the plane was not lifting off the ground during takeoff. Let us go into the options and I'll show you what was wrong. We were almost there. We were on the same screen, but this is what we overlooked. You start off on the welcome screen after it lets you in. Next you go to options. Then you go to general. And once in general, you go to flight model, the 6th one down. We were almost there. We played around with this. Realistic, all 100% settings. You remember that? Intermediate was 50% realism. And FSX was easy, or 0%. We didn't want to mess with any of that. That's all part of the old flight model, the legacy flight model. You need to switch this over to modern flight model. And it says switching flight model will affect the realistic behavior of flight. You bet it will. Yes, switch the flight model. Modern. Notice that as soon as you're in modern, the program handles everything for you, and realism and all this stuff grays out, and you can't even change it. Why? Because that was part of the old FSX system, and it doesn't even apply anymore. So now that we've selected the modern flight system, we're going to hit apply and save. Now we can go back. Now we can hit the welcome screen, and now we can go in and do our flight. And we will once again go to Modesto Harry Sham. We'll start off on 28R as our departure. And we will once again set our arrival as, it forgot it, so I'm going to have to put it in here. 0 Oscar 27 Oakdale Airport. And oh, it automatically chose runway 28. Probably because it knew if I was taking off to the northwest, I need to land to the northwest. All right. So the only thing left to change is the time, because we want to see what we're doing, right? Oh, there we go. We'll once again bring it to 11 o'clock. Why don't we do that since we were there last time? Flight conditions. We are using live weather. Let's just use clear skies. All right? Would make sense. So we'll go back to... No, world map, and fly. And when I can get the airplane up in the air and not have to worry about that, it'll be a lot easier to talk about the city. Besides, in video that I'm not even gonna include in the editor, I made so many mistakes on items to talk about. Now I know what I'm doing. Okay. Flaps 10 degrees. I also had erroneously had the assistance set to AI assists with the takeoff, which meant that it forced flaps 10 degrees and wouldn't even let me change it. That's fine. Let's start off with that. I don't think we're going to need more than that now that the plane's going to behave like it's supposed to. So we spool up. We release the parking brake. And except for the fact that the rudder's a little off, airspeed's alive, 60 knots. Look at that, right off the ground. Now all I need to do is trim the craft. We're good. We're golden. Tuck in my flaps. Now you tilt back on the stick and it does what it's supposed to do. I can't believe something so little made a difference, but you see, after they did the update was when we had that problem. So let's give this a try again. We'll climb out to the right. And these are all the buildings just north of the airport and south of Yosemite. So let's do it a little differently this time. Do a little bit more of a lead in. Now, if you're not careful, you can still stall the aircraft. I was probably pulling up too high on the stick. There we go. So we're flying along Yosemite Avenue or Boulevard, Highway 132. The rail yards to the south. And she's being real delicate. All right. And we're flying over the city of Empire. Here's Empire. I'm fairly certain. Mobile home park down there. And what I want to do is go out to Gear Road, Albers Road, over by the fruit yard. And when I find that, we'll turn around. About 2,300 feet high. We can change our views. Of course, with my luck, I'm going to totally duff things up. Back in the old FSX system, S was change main views, A was change sub views. Yeah. I try that now. I'll probably mess something up. That's A, that's S. S. I better just leave it alone. Internal. That's easy enough. Problem with that is we're really not going to see anything, though that's how you're obviously supposed to fly an airplane. While I understand that, we're here to see the view. Okay, this is Yosemite. This is the intersection of Yosemite and Gear, or Albers. I don't know which one it is at that point. And that's the fruit yard. Famous Southeast Modesto hangout. They have good food over there. It's kind of like a Mon Pa Denny's, but I think the food's a little better. For sure. There we go, directly over it. And what they did was they put some filler buildings over the satellite photos. But how accurate it is, I can't say. So now, you be the judge. I'm going to guess that that up ahead is... what's the name of that town? So funny, I've lived in Oakdale for almost 5 years now, and I can't remember the name of it. Waterford. So we're going to turn around. There's Woodward Reservoir right up there. Oakdale is over here. When everything's spread out at a really shallow angle, it's hard to make out what's what. Here's the Stanislaus River. And Scenic Drive is going to run along that to downtown. Downtown is back over here. The airport, as you recall, is here. You can see the rabbit right over there. Rabbit is a slang term for the sequential running lights that guide the pilots into the runway or into the airport. Mount Diablo, the only nearest structure or terrain marker at 3,800 feet. Very high lateral visibility, so that makes Mount Diablo a very important landmark for aviation. A good 50-mile radius all around it. Okay, so now we're going to come back toward Modesto, but we're going to do it proper. Rather than just going straight for downtown, I wanted to show you a few other things. Now, as far as the quality of the picture goes, this is so-so, but you also have to remember that in order for me to get the frame rates that I want, I turned a lot of my sliders down to the left. I have most things set to medium. I figured I would use the Goldilocks approach. Not too high, not too low, just right. From up here, sometimes it's hard to tell what's a canal versus what's a road. I'm going to guess that this might be Scenic Drive right here. Part of the problem is we're getting too high. Let's come back down a bit so we can attempt to recognize a few things. Yeah, I think that's Scenic Drive through there. If I'm not mistaken, that's the big shopping center at the intersection of Scenic Drive and Oakdale Road. I think. You know, it's funny, I pass through here every week or two, right on Scenic Drive, and everything looks so different from above. It's a little hard to tell what's what when it doesn't look the same as when you're in a car. So here's the thing, even if the buildings aren't perfect, they have the grid laid out and the houses filled in pretty darn good compared to FSX or certainly FS 2004. They would just have land classes and a few You know, hey, these are green and brown patches, and this is a gray patch, so that's urban area, and this is suburban, and much less detailed. I don't know what kind of school that is, but I can tell you that's the cemetery. And we're just about to come into downtown. Scenic Drive becomes, let me think, H Street, right? H Street, one-way inbound. G Street, one-way outbound. So here we go. I'm going to try to descend quickly. Yeah, that's definitely the cemetery down below. And there you go. This is that triangular intersection where, I forget the name of this street, but this is definitely H. And this is the DoubleTree Inn, and then the courthouse and the county jails, I believe, and the police station are all down here. I'm going to circle around so that you can see all that again, but that's definitely the DoubleTree. And right over here, Highway 99. Well, at least I'm not crashing. Okay, now we're down 1,800 feet. Just circle around. It's one of the high schools. Which one, I do not know. Because we're descending so rapidly, I'm almost going 110 knots. Not really what I wanted to do, but... Okay, here we go. So we're circling back around downtown. There's the DoubleTree again. Watch as we pass it. And that they got pretty realistic. I'd say so. That looks like it, doesn't it? There's the transportation center. There's the parking garage. Let's see if they got the sign that says Modesto. The welcome sign. I don't see it. There's McDonald's. There's a sign. There's an arch sign. Those are the county administration buildings, and I need to pay attention to what I'm doing. There should be a sign that says welcome to Modesto, or it doesn't say welcome to Modesto, but it's an arch. It's a steel arch over the street with the words Modesto in it. And here's the overpasses that I believe that's 6th Street, that's 5th Street. Oh boy. That squealing is the stall alarm. Let's go back out over the river. This time of year there was no water in it. But this is the 7th Street Bridge, and that's the 9th Street Bridge. The public golf course is out over here. I think. Now I'm not sure. I lost my way. Hey, this is where the minor league baseball team, the Modesto Nuts, play. Yeah. I've been to one Modesto Nuts game so far. The two people I'm doing this for, maybe you've been to a few games. This is the golf course. The American Graffiti Car Show the past couple of years has been held there. Of course, we didn't have that this year because of COVID. We haven't had a lot of things this year because of COVID. I think this is Modesto High School, the original Modesto High School. Huh. I'm kind of bummed out that the Modesto sign isn't there. I mean, that's a big landmark. Well, they didn't put it in there. It would normally be down there. I don't know what happened to it. But okay. Enough of that. The county buildings are down there. Ceres is behind me. Back over that way. And this is Highway 99. Turlock is back over there. Okay. Let us continue on and find Vintage Fair Mall. Now, I made some mistakes yesterday. First of all, this isn't the freeway. Those are railroad tracks. The freeway is over here. The freeway kind of does an S-curve, and it's easy to forget that. This is Modesto Junior College West Campus, which I forgot to point out yesterday, or 2 days ago. And East Campus, I think, is over here. I think. Hard to recognize stuff sometimes. I erroneously referred to this as Vintage Fair Mall, and I was wrong. I don't know what it is, but it's not that. Too many trees in the parking lot. So, that part of my video 2 nights ago where I said it was is going to hit the editing room floor. And I'm not even going to show that part. Besides, it was another sequence where I crashed the plane, so no need to show it. This is Vintage Fair Mall. And you can tell because there's parking all around it and not just parking on one side. This is the old Sears. This is BJ's or Red Robin or some sort of fast food is there. Forever 21 is right down here. In fact, if you looked really closely at it, it said Forever 21. Okay, now this is a messed up Pellendale exit. Somebody told me to keep an eye on Pellendale. Yeah, this is the Pellendale overpass, but there's supposed to be a piece of it that does a little bend 90 degrees and then you turn here to the intersection, and they messed it up. And you know that to be true because they show vehicles driving through the dirt. For some reason, Bing Maps doesn't have that data. And directly to the southwest of the Pellendale exit, this is all Salida. So, the person who lives in Salida, I'm not going to say which of the two I mentioned, lives there. There was a specific street that he wanted me to buzz around, and for his privacy I'm not going to say online what the name of that street is. But I'm guessing it's somewhere around here, based on how he described it. Directly opposite Pellendale, over the railroad tracks, over here, the neighborhood directly over there. So you tell me whether any of that looks familiar. Did you go to that school when you were younger? I don't know. There you go. Like I said, you tell me, what is this, a lumber yard? The only thing I ever did in Salida was I had some auto body repair work done after an accident. At Pellendale. So we'll fly over to downtown. There's a lot of canals out here in the Central Valley, and that's one of them. This, I believe, is I forget what the highway number is, 216? This is Kiernan. Okay. I think. Yes, this is the auto body shop that I had my car repaired in a while back. That is all Salida, and I am dangerously close to the ground. Look at the detail in the highway, though. That's pretty good. Pretty good stuff. The cars, they try to get their speeds pretty accurate. Well, I'm going to land if I'm not careful, which I don't want to do. Okay. So there you go. That's the idea of the roadway. You can see some photographs from the satellite photo of cars stuck in the ground. And surely that's not supposed to be, but they had to get the satellite data from somewhere, and the satellite data is going to have whatever was on the roadway when the picture was taken, and there's no getting around that. So they put their mobile cars in there, but you can see little ghost images of cars that were already sitting there. Now, here's an example of, I'll dip down a little bit, auto-gen scenery. When in doubt and they don't know what to put in, they put this in. I don't think those are actual photographs of buildings that exist. They appear to be auto-genned. They have too much of a Lego block look. And if I'm not mistaken, this might be Ripon. Is that Ripon? Could be. And then you go much further northwest, and this is Manteca and Highway 120, which we're not going to go up to. So now I'm going to try to mess around with some of our other views and see. Okay, insert gives me... Well, that sure is interesting. Oh, that puts me in drone mode. And when you're in drone mode, you can't control the plane. So let's get out of that. If you wind up buying this game, controlling the aircraft is only... And that's a good part of what a flight simulator is, controlling the aircraft. But the camera system is just as technical and complex, if not more so. have fun learning that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is Ripon. I don't see the water tower, but I'm sure that it is down there somewhere. Oh, there is a special feature. If you hit the pause break button in the far upper right hand corner of your keyboard, come on, that pauses the game in one position so that you can take a break, get up and stretch your legs, make button adjustments if you need to concentrate on the keyboard, like the camera views, and don't want to here we go. I've got it tied into my number 1 push button on my joystick. Oh no, that didn't do it. Okay, hold up a second. Well, isn't that special? Okay, now I'm back toggling between in the aircraft and behind the aircraft. Okay. I'm sorry about this. Probably this is gonna have to hit the editing room floor. Ah, here we go. Then you hit A, and these are all your other alternate views. Okay, let's go flying again. At the end of the left wing, port side wing, these are the views that if you're not careful will make you dizzy if you're not used to this. End of the starboard side wing. Ah, this is the one I wanted to show you. Under the wheels. And this gives you a good view of what's below. The tail. I don't know why we want to look at our tail. Behind the airplane, looking from the back of the fuselage toward the tail. Above the wing from the right, above the, or to the right of the fuselage, just below the wing strut. Over the windshield from the right side. We're back over Salida again, by the way, I think. And then the propeller. And now from the tail. Okay. Okay, so that is my new favorite view. And that's definitely Pellendale because it's a T intersection and it tees off there. And isn't that funny? Vintage Fair I thought was so easy to find. And I lost it again. I think that was it. I think Vintage Fair Mall is opposite Pellendale. I don't know. I'll never keep that straight. And if I'm not careful, I'm about to lose it. I'm basically trying to follow 99. I'm sorry. Now that you're all totally dizzy here. There it is. That's Vintage Fair Mall right there. Right there. Modesto Junior College West Campus again. There's the little S-curve that Highway 99 makes. And I'm going to slow down again. Try to bring our altitude down a little bit so that you can see more. Getting up real high in altitude is cool in a jet plane if you want to see more land at a greater distance below you, but the problem is everything is of less and less detail and looks further away. So you're not really seeing anything of substantive value. You can always tell we're opposite downtown because of these 5 overpasses that are like boom, 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 you know, every other block or every block. There's the hotel again. I'll tell you what, any shortcomings there are easily excusable. Go back. Oh, this is Gala Winery. Go back and give us FSX a try again from 2006 and see where the technology was 14 years ago. And then tell me whether you think this is something to complain about. Okay, so we're on the south side of 9th Street. I'm looking at 7th. You know, this is all flood district, floodplain. You know, the river extends here, but it can easily extend out here if you're not careful. Wrecking yards over here. Yeah. As you get down in South 7th Street, South 9th Street, you reach the parts of Modesto that aren't exactly Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. But that's okay. Okay, so we're going to try landing from this point of view. Our runway, 28R, is over here. In setting up the cameras, it's just important to choose your sub cameras so that when you toggle back and forth, you know what you're toggling with. So toggling back and forth, you can either toggle back and forth between orbit camera and drone, or in this case, orbit camera and under the belly of the plane. And you do that by hitting the insert key. And then by hitting the home key, I'm wrong. Delete key, end key. Yes, the end key. You toggle back and forth between inside the aircraft and whatever your outside your orbit view. So let's keep an eye on the airport. I guess this is what you'd call a dog leg. You do a big circle, and I don't know the technical names of the various parts, but you have the part where you're parallel and going away from the airport to set up for it. And then you have the circular part at the end of your dog leg where you're setting up, your setup go around, and then once you're lined up at the airport facing in the proper direction, that's called your final approach. And I will always preface that with I think, or not preface it, follow it up with. And the problem is we are getting way too high for landing. We're back over 3,000 feet. I wasn't paying attention. So we got to kill some altitude. Lower our engine speed. But yeah, now you notice we're falling at below 500 feet a minute. So, you want to be careful. And you also want to be careful that you don't turn out too quickly. Because we're pretty far from the airport, but we're also pretty high up. Let me get back over here. Going to attempt to execute a smooth landing. Hit S to line yourself up. You hit S, it's a toggle. You hit S once, you get some sort of a side view. Hit S again, it lines you up perfectly behind the aircraft. Now bear in mind that if the airplane travels faster, like it's a jet, the faster the plane goes, the less time you have to think and make your maneuvers and decisions before you've eaten up valuable land, and the situation gets away from you. At least the nice, slow, and lowly 152s and Cessna 172s give you enough time to think. Now I circled around too wide, because now I'm to the right of the runway. I need to line up perfectly with the rabbit. And I didn't do a too good of a bang-up job with that. So now this is where I get to say, do as I say, not as I do, but you want to have already been lined up on that approach. And we'll bring down our flaps to 10 degrees. There is no 5 degrees setting. It's 0. 0 is no flaps, and then all of a sudden it drops to 10. So my throttle is all the way back. I'm going to turn it up a bit just to... And in real life, you would never want to force the stick down to land. And that would mean that you didn't even set up the approach correctly in the first place. Now, I don't see VASI lights, but if there were VASI lights, there would be 4 whites. Which I guess, in a pivotal situation, I'll take 4 whites over 4 reds any day. But, yeah, this is a disaster. Okay, I'm going to lower the flaps just so that it drops me to the ground a little bit quicker. Yeah, I don't see VASI lights. There should be some. It's a big enough, long enough runway at a major enough airport that it should have them. Okay. I've floated this thing way further than I should have, but landing is going to be relatively easy. Okay. There you go. And hit the brakes. Hit the brakes. Clean up the aircraft, meaning bring your flaps back up to 0. And I'm going to brake over here. Okay. A little fast. You'll find that if your nose wheel doesn't turn as well as you'd like it to, you're probably driving along the ground too fast. The yellow taxi line seems awfully far to the left. You should be more over the gray line that got covered up. We're going to pretend this is our parking spot. Okay, I didn't mean to stop entirely. And that's the road that goes by the airport. What we're going to do is pretend that this is parking. We'll get back on the part that looks like cement. This were real airport parking. There'd be stall lines. Well, there we go. And we'll just say that's where I'm parking my airplane. Set the parking brake. Hit 0 to turn the engine off. Obviously, if you were doing this properly, you'd go through a lot more steps to turn an aircraft off. You'd go through another checklist. You'd do a post check, walk around, things of that sort. You'd probably fuel your aircraft before turning it in. You'd turn the lights off. All of that. So that's it. That is my flight around Modesto. And I hope you got something out of it. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope you saw the areas that you recognized. And most importantly, I hope this gives you an idea as to what the game looks like in its purest, unadulterated form, so that if you decide you want to buy this game, you can do so, or have somebody buy it for you just in time for Christmas. Okay, that's it. I'm B3 Burner, and you take care.